Hello, my name is David Vaisberg. I am the senior rabbi at Temple B'nai Abraham in Livingston. This week, many of us will begin the process of spiritually preparing ourselves for the high holy days, for these days of awe, beginning with Selichot this Saturday night, where we will make confession, where we will ask for forgiveness, and try to start off the new year with a clean slate. The tradition of Selichot goes way back, and in one of the Midrashim, they speak of King David having a conversation with God, learning that the temple will be destroyed. And David says, how will the Israelites possibly make amends for their wrongdoing? How can we start that year fresh? And God says, don't worry. Once you can no longer make sacrifices, all you'll have to do is three things. You'll have to gather together as a people, you'll have to make your confessions, and you'll have to say prayers of Selichot. And God showed David what those prayers would be. God appeared to David as a chazan, as a cantor, wrapped in a talit. And this is what our tradition teaches us. So, this year, many of us will do that. We'll gather in person or virtually and make those confessions and say those prayers. And yet, this year, after 18 months of collective trauma, those prayers may feel flat. Because we're not thinking about what we ourselves have done wrong individually. We may be thinking about where we've erred as a society. We may be thinking about all of those things beyond our control and simply feeling spiritually distant. So I think the path we need this year for Selichot, rather than doing that soul cleaning, is to simply prepare ourselves to enter that spiritual space so the high holidays can do what they're meant to do. You see, our tradition speaks about two different states of being in a state of tahor and a state of Tuma. This is mostly in the book of Vayikra, of Leviticus. You need to be in a state of tahor to be able to offer sacrifices. And we often translate tahor and Tuma as pure and impure, clean and unclean. And I find these translations woefully inadequate. I see tahor, and I've learned this from my teachers, tahor as being in a state where we can feel like angels, where we can be higher and feel deeply connected to God. And to be in a state of Tuma is to be well aware of our existential limits. We are in a state of Tuman when we have contact with the dead, when we have contact with bodily fluids and illness and things we don't understand, but they remind us of our limitations. And when we are in that state, it's difficult to truly connect with God. And I believe that we have all, living through COVID, been in a massive collective state of Tuma. So I think the first thing we need to do, this Selichot, is find a way to put that sense of Tuma aside. To find a way to create a safe space, even with Delta on the rise, for our loved ones, for our family, where we can really focus. So for this period, as we look forward to the Yamim Noraim, let us focus on putting aside the stressors around us so we can focus and do that holy work. Let us focus on banding together, virtually or in person, whatever we need to do with our loved ones, with our community, so we can stand together and make that confession and pray and feel uplifted, feel reconnected, tapped in. So this year, may we have a Shana Tova, may we be able to re-enter that state so we can be uplifted and come through with a little bit more wholeness. L'Shana Tova Umtuka.